And I still didn't know I was transgender, but I thought I was a lesbian, which is somewhere that most, well, I don't want to say most, a lot of trans guys go to, because I don't know why, but so I figured, you know, I identify more masculine, but I like women sexually, I must be a lesbian. So I started hanging out with the lesbian crew, and I felt better, but I then started noticing, well, I'm not like these women either, you know. Most of them are comfortable with a little bit of feminine flair here and there, or they don't mind having their breasts, or the shape of their body, or they don't think like me. There is still no one like me in this group.
So I was always really boyish and really tomboyish, and when I was in elementary, I'll never forget, see, I have barely any memory. The only memories I remember all have to do with gender and all of these things that click in my head like this. Open it, there was these baggy jeans, and this, like, you know, I like that style, so I had the baggy jeans, and I was like, yes, awesome. And then there was this sweatshirt, and it was like really baggy, and it just made me feel so good to have this clothes that was super masculine.
I was like 15, that's when it really started hitting me hard that I was unhappy. When people would leave the house, when my brothers and my parents would leave, I would get my brother's clothing, and I would put it on, and I would just stare at myself in the mirror, and I loved how I looked. And I even told my best friend at the time, and I showed her how I looked, like, in the dude clothes and stuff. But, you know, just that little bit of every once in a while, you know, every other day I would get to put on some masculine clothes. Eventually, as I got older, it started, you know, eating at me more, and I was like, but I want to wear those clothes all the time, but I want to have that masculine feeling all the time and be able to express that feeling that's inside of me instead of covering it or trying to hide it.
At that time, I was out as a lesbian. I was openly gay. I was openly queer. I didn't really know what being trans was. I had never really heard that terminology used before, and so it was a very fresh new concept to me. I just, you know, I was very tomboyish. I was always very, like, rugged. I was never really super girly. I didn't really get into any girly stuff like makeup or, you know, anything stereotypically feminine. I was pretty openly against, but I never quite made the connection that what these trans guys were describing in their videos was what I was feeling.
Basically, I was always referred to as a tomboy. I had my hair short. I did a lot of stereotypically, like, boy things, and wore clothes from the boys section, and liked it when people referred to me as a boy, and all of that stuff. But I didn't really think about my gender too much when I was a kid, because I was really fortunate that my parents just let me wear and be how I wanted without putting up a fuss and being like, oh, you shouldn't do that because you're a girl type. The nightmare of puberty hit me like a truck, and the difference between the expectations of boys and girls became a lot bigger, and I just felt really uncomfortable with the way my body was changing and the way people were starting to expect me to dress and behave now that I was growing up. That marked the beginning of me feeling really uncomfortable in terms of my gender and how people viewed me because of the way I appeared and stuff like that. So yeah.
The very traditional story of I was masculine as fuck growing up. I was a tomboy. I just wore fucking basketball shorts and t-shirts everywhere I went. And of course, like many other trans guys, the bane of my existence was when I started to go through puberty, and my mom was like, I think you need to start wearing bras. And I was kind of like, why can't I just not have this happen to me?
It's like a classic story for trans masculine people. It starts off with I was always much more attracted to masculine clothes, and I instantly told my mom I wanted to shop in the boys section. I wanted to cut my hair short, and it was because I realized I wanted to present more masculine.
I did when I was questioning myself whether I was trans or I was going through some weird phase. I experimented with things. I bought men's clothes. Yeah, I mean, I bought men's clothes. That's what I did to experiment. I felt really comfortable. It made me feel really comfortable. Just because a girl likes to wear men's clothes doesn't mean she's trans. But being transgender, it just felt right for me. Like,